Hey, what's up, fellow survivalists? Thanks for tuning in today. I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy life and schedule to hang out with me and talk bug out bags. In this video, I'm breaking down the entire contents of my 72-hour kit, also known as the bug out bag, bailout bag, or that giant black hole you pour money into and hope you get a return on your investment, which you will if you get out and train. In this bag, I have all the essentials for 3 days of solo survival without resupply, weighing in at just 30 pounds. And yes, 100%, this is a tactical bag, and no, I do not give 0 Fs because this bag is designed for use in a wilderness situation. It could be anything from just me wanting to get away for the weekend, or it could be an actual survival situation, or what have you. But anyways, the point being is, yes, it's tactical. This is the platform that I am most comfortable with and the pack that has served me well for many, many years. So without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get started with tools, keeping in mind simplicity because tools can add up really fast and turn your bug out bag into a bloated, fat mess of extra weight that is absolutely unnecessary. Here's the new addition, the M9 bayonet. I've had my eye on one of these for a long time and I finally just coughed up the money and bought one. It is an absolute beast of a knife, 7-inch smooth edge blade with a flat bevel grind. Now, listen, bear in mind this is not a full tang, but rat tang, meaning the tang ends about 1 inch into the handle. However, good luck breaking this handle off from the blade. I just don't see it happening. I have abused the living crap out of this thing, batoning huge pieces of hardwood with knots and have literally 0 issues. Total weight on this is 16 ounces, which, yes, is kind of heavy. We were just talking about tools and weight, but hey, listen, I want to play Rambo in the woods for a while, and I can afford the extra weight because my total kit, like I said in the beginning, only weighs in at 30 pounds. Up next is the must-have cutting tool, a folding saw. I would prefer my Baco Laplander since the blade isn't so brittle. However, it doesn't fit in the M16 ammo pouch, so I have to use a Silky, which, yeah, I know, it's a rough life. I always have a secondary blade on me. Obviously, redundancy is everything. Typically, that's a folder. This one is a Kershaw barge. Don't ask me why the name barge. It's stupid, and I'm not sure quite what it has to do with knives, but whatever. This one has a really great price. It has this utility style blade that, you know, kind of is like reminiscent of box cutters, and then this mini pry bar, and also a super tough frame lock. This is a nice to have, but not essential tool. I'll be honest, I had room and it fits perfect in the M9 pistol mag pouch, so I just had to toss it in. And honestly, it's nice to have all these options available. And then again, it's a Leatherman multi-tool, so what's not to love? Moving on to shelter, and this has been an evolution for me like it should be for you and anybody else who is out training, because when you're training, you're figuring out what works for you and you're switching stuff out and you're really customizing your gear to what you see is perfect for you and what works for you. So for me with the shelter, it's been the same thing. I started out with a tent, an actual freestanding tent with poles, and now I've landed here with just a military issue poncho and a hammock. The poncho is made by Miltech, and since it's the military issue style design, it also doubles as a tarp. So that's 2 survival uses in one, plus the Flecton and camo pattern, which is so sexy, so it really is just a win overall. Then the hammock I'm using is just some El Cheapo Chinese brand that I picked up because I didn't want to spend a bunch of money on my first hammock. And now, after some use, I'm really sold on it, especially since it's cold outside. With the hammock, I can just throw that up super quick, super easy, and I can get up off the ground, which I think is a big deal. And then all I have to do after that is grab my sleeping pad. This is the Static V Recon, and you see it's nice and compact. I just inflate that thing. It maybe takes about a minute to inflate it. It just, blows up super fast. I throw that in the hammock to create a barrier between myself and any sort of cold breezes that are coming through, and trust me, they do. And I'm basically set. Of course, you got to have a decent blanket, because I've used poncho liners for a long time, but they just don't work for me anymore. I guess I'm getting kind of old and soft. So anyways, I picked up this one from American Benchcraft, added one to my inch bag, and now I've got one here in my 72-hour kit. Now, I have heard good things about the Snug Pack Jungle Blanket. Maybe I pick one up in the future, but for now, this is what I'm working with. And then finally, of course, you got to have some cordage. I roll with bank line. I finally made that conversion over from paracord, and this stuff is gold. If you haven't tried bank line out yet, strongly suggest it. I feel like old-fashioned navigation with map and compass is fast becoming a lost art. We all know it's just way too easy to grab your phone, throw on Google Maps, switch it into sat mode, and see what's around you. But seriously, why would anybody rely on this? I hope you don't, because I don't. And why? Because your phone dies and then you're screwed, right? So that's why I carry my favorite compass, a notepad, a Right in the Rain pen, and a map of my target area. For today's trip, I know this area like the back of my hand, so I don't have any maps on me. But next week, I'm headed out kind of in the Georgia area, so I'll be in unfamiliar territory. So I'll be adding a sat map and a topo map in this case, and I'll probably throw in a few markers to plot out my routes. And then finally, I always have a pair of binos. God knows I've been using these ones for years, and actually I'm looking to upgrade. I'm looking for something that is gonna be a little more powerful in terms of magnification, but about the same size. So if anybody has suggestions, hit me up in those comments. The medical component of your 72-hour gear is super important. Honestly, this should be a #1 focus, right up there with food, but a lot of times people tend to neglect this part or just throw something together half-ass. So for me, I want to take care of this. If I'm going to be out in the field for 3 days using tools that slice and cut, I want to make sure I'm covered on all bases. So basically what I do is I have one kit dedicated for major trauma events. I'm using an axe and I slam it into my leg. I'm bleeding all over the place. I cut my finger, I'm bleeding. Anything where I'm bleeding a whole lot. This kit with the foot clot gauze, the tourniquet, and those items are going to enable me to save my own life for the moment and try to seek professional care. And then for everything else, where I might have a little paper cut, or I might have a headache, or whatever the case is, and then things that bleed a little bit where you just need a few pads, I have all of that in kind of a minor medical personal kit here, and that way it's very easy to locate what I need when I need it, depending on the type of medical event that I'm actually facing. So here's a bunch of stuff that I just don't really have a category for, so I just threw it all in together. So let's have a look at what we got here. Camo paint, because I might, you might get the urge to want to play Rambo, okay? Gorilla tape for field repairs. Pro knot card, because I suck at knots, honestly. Like, I know 2 knots, so having this little card reference is actually pretty slick. I like it. And then an N95 mask. Maybe there's a forest fire and I need to protect myself from that, or other pollutants in the air. I got 2 pairs of socks because I love my feet and my feet get me where I need to go. Just got this little backup survival kit hanging here that came in from Survival Frog. And then on the topic of survival kits, my custom pimped out survival kit based on the SAS survival guide, but I put some really cool slick upgrades in here, and I'll cover that in the future in like another video, but here's just a nice little sneak peek for now. Then there's the food component, which is also very important. Now for this loadout, I just kind of slacked a little bit. I just took it all quick and easy, tossed in some snacks, tossed in the orange because I love fresh fruit, got coffee, sugar in there, and obviously this brick of survival rations, some of those Cliff Bars. And honestly, looking at this brick, man, it takes up so much space and not exactly tasty. So I just got in a 2-week supply of food from My Patriot Food Supply, who is actually a sponsor now, which is really freaking cool. Anyways, They have like a giant bag of mac and cheese, which I'll probably swap that out with the brick because it's smaller, and mac and cheese is way better than like this brick of sawdust. For the cook set, I'm keeping it simple. I got my backpacker style stove, the Optimus Crux. You've seen me use this before. And then I also have this Toaks titanium cup. And honestly, that's all I need. You know, I'm not interested in cooking up some big meals or, you know, having a roaring fire. I'm just keeping it simple and easy. Communications are another very important aspect of your 72-hour gear. You have to stay connected to the outside world to know what's going on, especially if you actually had to flee to the woods for 3 days, like maybe the plague is coming through town and you got to get the hell out of there, or some sort of horde of reptilians. Whatever the case is, comms are super important. So you know, with this too, you know, you really don't need much. I got this charger, which is pretty much waterproof, seals up really nice, multi-function cable, and my Baofeng radio, and that's all I need. And for 3 days, I don't need any sort of charger for the radio either, so I'm pretty much covered. However, if you did want to charge that Baofeng radio, you can actually find USB adapters on Amazon. Up next is the lighting component, and you can prove me wrong in the comments, but for me, all I need is a headlamp and a flashlight. The headlamp is my go-to, and then I have my backup stream light, which, you know, is just small and compact and uses the AA battery, and the headlamp uses AAA, and that's the way I prefer it because I don't want to overload my power bank with a bunch of devices and then suddenly it's dead in a day or whatever, right? I want to save that for my phone because obviously I'm going to need to be on Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, and wherever else when shit hits the fan. It just makes sense. But honestly, in all seriousness, it's a good communication device. So choosing that as a priority to charge over a bunch of other crap, just keep it simple and go with AAA and AA for as much of items as you can in your gear set. And then finally, before we look at the pack and the pouches, we got to talk about water. That's a survival essential. You know that. You're not a stupid person. Everybody knows that they need water to survive. That's like pretty damn important. And you know that just like any other survival essential, you want to have redundancy. That's why with my setup, I have the water purification tabs plus the Katadyn Be Free, which covers me for quick purification and then ability to purify water directly in a container such as the canteen. Now, I just thought of something and I haven't tried it out yet, but if I do, I'll definitely make a video on it. So think about this. I have the hydration bladder here, right? That's great for obvious reasons, but imagine hanging this upside down from a tree branch and removing the mouthpiece from the hose and enjoying yourself a shower. Would that work? I bet it would. You would have to probably hang the bag at an angle, but hey, listen, I'm going to try that out. Anyways, that's the setup. I got the hydration bladder, I got the canteen and the SDS Molly pouch with a dry case for my matches, water purification tabs, and then the Katadyn Be Free. And finally, here's the lowdown on the pack and pouches I have attached. Any of the camo ones, the woodland or the coyote tan, are made by Specialty Defense Systems, military issue, mixed in with Vertex and HSGI. Now the pack is the good old FLIBE, which, thanks to a Marine who commented, is also known as the Philby. I would have known that. I think I've said that before, but nobody understood me. Not too familiar with the term because when I was in the Marine Corps, we weren't issued super cool high-speed gear like this. We had the freaking Alice pack, which lets you know how salty I actually am. So we won't talk about how old I am anymore, but I'll just tell you this pack is absolutely bomb-proof. I did a review on this a while back, maybe 2 videos ago, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. And then real quick, the way I have these pouches set up, I got the Molly 2 pouch on this side. Typically it would have 2 M16 mags in it, but it seems to be a perfect fit for the Silky and Bank line. Then on the other side, I have the M9 pistol pouch where the multi-tool, look at that, perfect fit. And then this huge pouch on the bottom, it is actually designed to, it's actually a butt pack that attaches to the back of the Molly 2 SDS Rifleman's assault vest. Well, that was a long word. Anyways, it's supposed to attach to the back of an assault vest. However, it attaches great to my pack, and I just stuff my entire sleep system in there, and it works out great. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. That's all I got for the video. One thing I want to point out is the fact that your 72-hour kit is seasonal in nature and also for the environment where you live. I live in Florida, so my shelter system and the gear that I pack for this environment is going to be totally different than some guy who's living up in Canada. So you got to keep that in mind. You got to keep in mind that your gear is seasonal. You got to be able to rotate that out. You have one kit for summer, then you transform that for the cold season. And then also, most importantly, guys, got to get out there and train with your gear. So thanks a lot for watching. I have recently launched a Patreon page, which I'm going to post links up in the description of this video, and it's really easy to find. It's literally patreon.com/thesurvivaloutpost, so be sure to go check that out. I publish a lot of content on there that I don't share anywhere else. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video. Show your support for the channel by checking out the wide range of survival gear available at thesurvivaloutpost.com. We stock only top quality, rugged, tactical equipment and apparel designed to support any mission or situation life may throw your way. Any gear you've seen in this video is linked up down there in the pinned post, and be sure to check out the suggested videos for more real-world survival content and training.